Oh, hey neighbor, and welcome to Jacob's Kitchen. Today, I'm going to be telling you how to cook pasta with a butter and garlic sauce, my specialty. I'm glad to be joined here by our wonderful guest chef, Gordon Ramsay. Let's give him a round of applause. Today, Gordon will be telling me how to cook well and better, and I hope he judges my pasta well. I'm going to be taking you through all the different steps of cooking the pasta, through the boiling, through the sauce, and how to make it all. So please stick around while I take you through the process. And welcome back. So let's start with the first step. Let's start with getting the water to the right point. So we're going to fill up the pot. Now you want a pot that's big enough to hold your pasta, but not super big and not too small where the pasta's overflowing. We don't want that. So let's go ahead and start filling it up. Now again, we want the water not to go all the way to the top, but not too little. So we're gonna go about maybe three quarters of the way. 3/4 of the way would probably be a good spot. All right, so now we're about how it is. This is probably about a good water level. So now we're gonna add some olive oil into it. Now we don't wanna completely dump the whole bottle, no. So we wanna put a little bit in there, just enough. That's probably about good, just so the pasta cooks a little easier. Now that we have this, our water, we will head over to the grill. I know it's not a grill, but it's... Oh, hi again. Now let's continue on with our next step here at the stove. Now, we need to get the water to a boil. A solid, good boil so the pasta we can dump in and it'll start to cook. Now, every stove is gonna be a little bit different. Your stove may be different than mine, so make sure you refer to your user's manual. Make sure that you have your gas on or your electricity, you're gonna need both, to activate the stove. Now that we have it here, we have, as you see here, my stove has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ones with all these different switches, like it's a Starship Enterprise. Who needs that? We're only gonna use the one for this. So now we're gonna turn it on to high. Now again, yours may be different, but turn it on to high. You see the fire's gonna kick on underneath. And we're gonna let that heat up and we'll come back to you. All right, so while your water is boiling, we're gonna continue on making the sauce. This is a perfect time to do it because that's cooking and we can't do anything more about it. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we're gonna take some butter. We know we have this much left, and depending on how many servings of this pasta sauce you're gonna have, you should make a bowl for each. So we're only gonna do one serving, so we're only gonna make one bowl of sauce. But if you're gonna do multiple, I recommend doing multiple bowls. So let's go ahead and put the butter in. Next up, we'll be adding our olive oil. Now we don't wanna put too much, it would overpower it, but we just want enough, so that's probably good. All right, let's go on to the pepper. Pepper we want a lot of, it's gonna add that little bit of flavor. I'm gonna go ahead and spice it up, you know what I'm saying, with a little pepper. All right, now that we've done a little bit of that, we'll do some salt. Now depending on your salt shaker, it may come in a little bit fast. Don't worry, we can solve that. If it's coming in a little bit too fast, make sure you're shaking your hand. You can always dabble in it as much as you want. But for this, I know about how much this comes out, so we're gonna put a little bit in. And that's probably about good. Now, you can add some extra. We got some onion and garlic. Now you don't have to add these in, but if you want a little extra flavor, you can add them in. So let's start off with the garlic, or the onion, my bad. Oh man, it's gonna make me cry. All right. Okay, now the garlic. Wow, that was way too much onion. Anyways, let's go with the garlic. So here you go. Depending on how much, that's probably good. So now, let's continue on with our next step. We're gonna heat up the sauce. Now you technically don't have to, but we're gonna add it in. We're also gonna add in some cheese. Now we have the Mexican 4 cheese, but you can always add in your Parmesan, or Reggiano, or fettuccine, linguine, martini.
Tacos, fettuccine, linguine, martini, bikini.
Whatever you want. So let's continue on to the microwave. All right, so now here's the thing. We don't want to overcook this. No, no, no. We just want to put it in a little bit of time where the butter melts. So let's put it in for a good 30 seconds, and we'll see how we are from there. And now that we have finished with the sauce, should look something like this depending on the cheese. Let's head on over. Now, if we need to add extra, we can, but we're gonna head over to the pasta. As we see, our boil is coming up to a steady, meaning that we're almost ready to go. So in probably about 10 seconds, 15, we're gonna throw in the pasta. All right, now that we got our steady boil, and we got our pasta ready to go, just note that every pasta has a different cooking time. So this one has about 7 minutes, but if you have a thicker noodle or noodles that need less time to cook, or you want yours a little less tender or more stiff, then I would say put it in for different times. But we're gonna put it in for the 7 minutes that it recommends. So now that we're at a steady boil, let's go ahead and pour it in. A safety tip, do not pour it in too fast, otherwise the water will spill out. We don't want that. So we'll pour it in a little slow. Make sure we get all the pasta in. Now, as you note, the water is not boiling as much as it just was, but don't worry, it's still cooking, it's still as hot as it was. So now that it's there, we're gonna make sure we stir the pasta with a good stirring utensil, and maybe about every 2 minutes to make sure it's getting filtered out and gets the stuff on the bottom to the top and bottom. I bet. So, all right, so I'll catch back to you when it's boiling again. We got a steady boil going on with our pasta in there. We're gonna make sure that we continue to stir it every 1 to 2 minutes. Now, I get if you need to step away to deal with your unworthy child. I get it, you gotta do that. But if you need to come back, you come back and you make sure you stir the pasta. So here we're just gonna make sure we kind of stir it around a little bit. Get the stuff on the bottom to the top and the top to the bottom. So it filters that out, so the stuff on the bottom is gonna cook faster, it's going better, and it's so good. So we're gonna let that continue to boil for the next couple of minutes, and we'll see when it's done. All right, now that our pasta is fully cooked over the estimated amount of time, you will notice that the pasta is expanded. That is why we didn't fill too much water up in the pot. Now, we're gonna move it over to the strainer to drain the water out. Now, you need to be cautious here because this is hot. Trust me, from experience, you need to be cautious with this. So we're gonna go ahead and grab it, and we'll turn off the stove. Okay. Come over here and we'll start to strain. You see, we're gonna take this nice and easy. We're not gonna go super hard with it. We're just gonna go ahead and pour out the pasta. Now that all the pasta has exited the pot, we'll go ahead and we'll give it a little shake. Make sure to get all that excess water out of there. There we go. Perfect. And we'll let it sit for a minute, get all the water out of it, and we'll come back to you when we're done. All right. Now that our pasta is fully strained, which means no more water should come out of it, let's transfer it over to our sauce bowl. Go ahead and put some of the pasta in there. All right. Perfect. All right. Now let's get the last remaining pastas in there. Okay. Now, we are going to mix up the pasta sauce with the pasta. Let's go ahead and begin that. So remember, the sauce is at the bottom. So we're going to see if we can mix it all together. All right, now that we mixed up the pasta with the sauce, we're gonna go ahead and plate it. Now that we have our pasta here, let's go ahead and taste test it. Wow, that is actually really good. Now, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to make my special garlic pasta. Let's give another thanks to guest chef Gordon Ramsay. Thank you for joining me here at Jacob's Kitchen. See you next time.